Action Now is a great example of making change at a local level, but these local organisations draw strength from a national racial justice movement. I've been invited to Facing Race, the largest gathering of racial justice activists in the US. The hosts, the Applied Research Centre, are, like Runnymede, a race equality think tank. And some of the USA's sharpest minds on racial justice are here. I'm keen to see how they connect what I've seen in Chicago's streets and neighbourhoods with policy at a national level.
We are trying to revive the racial justice movement and modernize it. We put it on because we needed a place for the racial justice community to gather every couple of years. So there are people here who know each other on Facebook or Twitter but have never actually met.
This was a ripe and fertile ground, just in terms of what's going on back home. I would say there was a lot of movement building and connecting that took place here that we're going to actually take back.
My highlight here has been basically just interacting with all the great groups here and just seeing the great equity movement in action.
The plenary speaker yesterday, Harris Lakeswell, without question one of the most meaningful, significant, fabulous presentations I've ever heard.
Melissa was just awesome, and I could have listened to her for hours and hours and hours.
Here was this accompanying language in the week after the election. In a letter to the New York Times, I hope that all children, but especially black kids, will consider Obama a worthy role model. Too many black kids see sports and the entertainment business as the only way out of the inner city, where all black kids live. But Obama has proved that a black person, especially if they've gone to Harvard and have white parents, can achieve success in any arena, and that there is no ceiling that a person of color can't shatter. Now, what of course this assumes, right, is that inequality is primarily the result of a lack of vision. The reason that black children don't achieve is because they just can't imagine a better world for themselves.
One of the challenges for the big society is government accountability. Unless decision makers are held to account, minority communities could find themselves worse off. Is there a way that citizens can fill the gaps that these regulators leave behind and hold officials to account? Brian Gladstein has been involved with racial scorecarding.
Facing Race is a biennial report that provides a multiracial and multi-issue framework for assessing the cumulative effects of state policies on different racial communities in Illinois.
It's about people being able to take control and understand that government serves us, we don't serve the government.
Every bill that we deal with in the state has some implications with regard to racial equity. I mean, it just does.
Our team leaders have your assigned legislative offices to deliver the report card to.
Has he gone already?
No, he's upstairs in a meeting.
He's upstairs. Okay. Well, if you would be so kind, we would like to give him his report card.
There really was a need for community groups to come together and to evaluate and understand what the politicians that were put in office to fight for the people who elected them, to be able to come together and evaluate how they're doing. And you can't do that unless you're doing it with community residents who I think are the experts. I don't think the experts sit behind a desk and make laws. I think experts are living every day trying to survive, trying to feed their family, trying to have a house over their head, trying to get a good education. And that it's those connections and that understanding of inclusiveness and having them be part of decision making that I think is vital to a democratic society.
This report card provides us with ammunition. It provides us with data, timely research data, that we can use to move an agenda to change policy.
As the conference draws to a close, I'm struck by the energy and enthusiasm with which the activists and the various community organisations here are responding to the challenge around racism and race inequality. Finding a shared narrative which links what goes on in the White House to issues around black housing in the streets as we've seen in Chicago. And that strikes me as a really powerful way of organising organisers. One of the most controversial big society policies has been free schools. The right for groups to set up and operate schools with direct funding from the state. This is a policy that's been operating in America for a number of years. Here, they're called charter schools. I'm travelling to one of the most deprived areas in South Chicago, home to the Betty Shabazz International Charter School as it opens its door for another day.
In terms of the old West African proverb, it takes a village to raise a child. We actually live that proverb, that principle here.
Shootings, assaults and drug crime are daily features of life in this neighbourhood, but the success of this school tells a different story.
It's not every day that the kids at the Betty Shabazz International Charter School have a Grammy winner stop by for a chat. Workshops are designed to motivate teenagers to map out a plan for success. Along with setting goals, they're shown how values and integrity will serve them all through life.
The children begin every day with a routine. We call it circle time. We sing a lot, we celebrate. Our children are required to do a lot of oral recitations. We begin the day in unity, the circle.
Right.
And we end the day in unity.
It makes them fearless. It lets them know that they can do whatever they want to do.
This school is pretty much like a village or something. It seems like it's more of a family than just people that go to the school.
We do teach by the standards, but then we can add a little bit more to it as far as it concerns positive self-image about ourselves. Things that they're not learning in the public schools, right, they learn here.
Does anybody see anything familiar about any of those two words? Yes. Nausea. Most of our words come from Latin. Greek, Latin, then Old French, Old German, Old English. This means to the point, this is how we would translate it, to the point of sickness.
Last year, our students in the 8th grade in mathematics scored the 90th percentile. So we're moving along. You just will never reach utopia. But the goal and the commitment is to continue to work very, very hard to do everything that we possibly can to meet the needs of all of our children.
The evidence on charter schools is at best mixed on their impact on inequality. But it's hard when you come to a school like the Betty Shabazz International Charter School to quibble about involving parents, about engaging with the community when they're facing some really tough issues in this area. The worry in the UK is whether a move towards free schools or charter schools would address some of these inequalities, or whether it would be another opportunity for middle classes to prosper further out of the education system and not address some of the racial inequity that operates within our society. Action Now members have been picketing Chase Bank head office in central Chicago and drawing attention to their neighbour's situation. The bank is repossessing the home of Terry Richards, an Action Now member. As the frontline march outside, Action Now officials are upstairs negotiating with senior bank executives to keep Terry off the streets.
Right now! This is what we believe in doing, fighting for social justice for our people. Right now!
After half an hour, it looks like we have a result.
Chase decided that there was an error, there's a cross-up information, and until they find out where it came from, they won't force the foreclosure. I'm not here to just represent me, I'm here to represent everyone that's going through this. You know, so if we win, we're just one, we can take that one and tell others and get our homes back.
After listening to Anna back in London, I thought that the big society would have to mean greater racial inequality. And as the spending cuts kick in, many more people are voicing their concerns. This experience has given me some hope, some ideas we can use to make sure that race equality is at the core of the reforms. I've learned that the poor and marginalised can be heard, and that you can have a response to racism through new forms of accountability and community organising, turning the active citizen into the activist citizen. But for this to happen will require investment in organisations to work at neighbourhood level, and national networks and centres of expertise to drive work on the ground and inform government policy. Can the big society be a fairer society? It's up to us to make it happen.
dollar, that's what I need. And if I share with you my story, would you share your dollar with me? Bad times are coming and I reap what I done sowed. Hey, hey. Well, let me tell you something.